right.
Hi, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're joining us. My name is Fanet Jabbar, and I will be your moderator for today's webinar workshop. Today's workshop is the IoT Management One-on-One with JFrog Connect. And our host will be Bill Manning, Solution Engineering Manager at JFrog. Today, we'll have also plenty of time for a Q&A during the session, and the session will be pretty interactive, so don't be shy and use the Q&A chat button, Q&A or the chat button at the bottom of the screen on the Zoom interface. It's time, I guess, to leave the floor to Bill. Bill, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. How you doing, everybody? And welcome to our JFrog Connect workshop. We say the IoT workshop because IoT is such a big phrase that everybody uses these days. My name is Bill Manning, as stated, or William Manning. Everybody gets confused between William and Bill, but that's who I am. I'm the Solution Engineering Manager here at JFrog. Been with the company for over 6 years now. Just to let you know, one of the reasons why I'm also doing this little talk is my experience in the IoT space is pretty extensive. I actually had a company that was part of that. We built a platform that was sold later on to Google and Motorola that was actually called the Connected Home before IoT was even a term. So I was brought in to give a talk about this. So let's get going. So one of the things we're going to talk about today is we're going to go a quick overview, of course, the IoT world, and where it stands, and just some of the interesting stats and things like that. We'll discuss what JFrog Connect is. I'll also show you JFrog Connect and Artifactory if you're an Artifactory customer, utilizing the pieces that all the binaries you put up, the builds you produce, the Docker images you create, anything you do with the 32 package types are available to the Connect platform to push to your devices. We'll talk a little bit about supply chain security. We'll look at some of the workflows and updating devices and diagnosing devices. It's going to be pretty straightforward, but let's get started. So of course, we know the numbers, right? There's a reason why, everybody is, been talking about IoT for the past over a decade now, right? There's millions of devices and it's growing and growing. The number of money that can be made from the IoT space is incredible, but also the amount of money that can be saved is insane too. If you look at this too, one of the biggest problems though is also things like security. So we'll discuss some of the security aspect behind this, whether it's software supply chain security or, all the way down to the device itself. But the thing is the number of devices is growing and growing. I mean, in my place personally here at my house that I'm doing my talk from right now, I've got over 50 devices in my home, everything from lighting to smart fridge, you name it, I've got it, right? I've always been kind of invested in this space. So understanding, when we look at this, at the number of growing devices, having a platform that can go in and do everything that's part of your software supply chain, right? Your SDLC, your software development lifecycle, whatever you're doing with your company in terms of device space, the thing is we've got you covered, right? And the JFrog platform and Connect as part of that platform is an end-to-end DevSecOps solution that allows you to build your software and deploy it into the devices, maintain them, monitor it, and everything like that. And the device spaces are growing, like we keep talking about, right? And so understanding that and understanding all these devices, and most of them are Linux based, and you want to be able to put them at the edge. You also want to be able to do things that where humans aren't involved, or you want to make sure that you can help if you're a company that produces devices, say for consumers or industrial or whatnot. You want to be able to keep an eye on those devices, update those devices, monitor them, make sure they're good. And it's everything from $30 Raspberry Pis. Now this is the thing, as I laugh, is I think $30 used to be the way it is, and then the supply chain issues happened with producing them, and they rocketed it to 200. Oh my God, it was ridiculous. But all the way down to servers and things like that. These are the things that we talk about. IoT is such a loaded name. It kind of drives me crazy because it started off with a very niche kind of market and expanded into like anything that's connected. What's the reason why the Internet of Things, right? And everybody talks about. And it always cracks me up when I hear that, because like I said, I've been in this space for a while. I actually can't see behind me. I got awards for the Connected Home stuff, software platform we built all the way going back to 2007. And here I am still talking about it 16 years later. And the thing is that there's lots of challenges still to this day, right? The thing is like you need ways to, ensure that you can, diagnose devices to eliminate things like product recalls or, ensure software reliability. Also things is like, constant updates. The thing is that we believe in this idea and methodology here at JFrog about liquid software. Software should flow. Things should be constantly updated. It's kind of our mantra. And understanding that, we've actually provided this to almost 8,000 customers globally, almost 100% of the Fortune 100, because the idea is that customers and consumers, have now gotten to the point where they expect updates for the things they do, whether it's a car you drive, whether it's the phone you have in your pocket, even now to the TV you use or what anything like that, even your thermostats and like your smoke detectors and whatever. But also too, corporations that are doing this, you want to be able to maintain some semblance of control, because the thing is diagnosing a lot of these components and these things can be very costly for a lot of companies to do. So you want some way, some easy methodology to do this. And the thing is with Connect, it provides things like remote management, be able to provide software updates to the device, be able to troubleshoot the device extremely rapidly, being able to monitor the device and actually, set things like alerts for monitoring so that you get notified. And on top of that, you want to make sure that those devices are safe. So even be able to do things like implement a firewall into the devices. Now you understand, so we'll talk about this initially. Right now, the Connect platform is only for Linux-based devices. We do not support Windows-based devices. We might have something in the future going forward, but let's face it, 90+% of the devices in the market are Linux-based, thus the reason for that. So when we have this, the thing is, what you want to know is that right now, as it stands, our Connect platform is a SaaS-based platform. We will be having a self-hosted version of this platform coming soon. It's easy to use. I'll talk about that. It's easy to use it either independently as its own product, or if you're already a JFrog customer, you can actually connect it, and especially if it's a JFrog SaaS customer currently, but you can connect your SaaS instance to your actual your Connect instance, and any of the software you build and produce inside of Artifactory. I'm not going to go too deep into Artifactory. If you want to do that, we have tons of videos. I do tons of talks on that, software supply chain security, software bill of materials, things like, building cloud native. We are governance board members of the Cloud Native Foundation. We are a CNA, we're a CVE number authority. So like all these other things you get as part of what we are as a company gets baked into the Connect platform. So you can use it either independently or you can utilize it with your actual JFrog platform itself. It's based to work with, like I said, Linux-based devices, both ARM and Intel. It's only about a 4 megabyte size client that I'll show you how to install today. And then also too, once it's there, it actually, one of the nice features is it uses like a call home style feature, which is the thing is that once this client is installed, you don't have to worry about your customers having to open their firewalls to do this, because the device itself will call outbound to the service, establishing the connection, and then all connections are done based on that. And the thing is, it was actually designed to be fast, efficient, and also highly effective when it comes to security. So putting all that software to the edge, this gives you the control, maintenance, monitoring, and also remote diagnostics capabilities that you need. So when we start going through it today, it's, you can do things from, code to device or developer to device, be able to automate everything you want utilizing our platform all the way down to Connect. Being able to actually also have things like end-to-end, software supply chain security, right? And also software bill of materials. Remember, actually, everybody talks about software bill of materials these days, and you have to remember that software bill of materials actually got its origin in 2017 with the FDA dealing with medical devices, right? Understanding the software that's on medical devices is what software bill of materials was initially done, because let's face it, you want to know what's on the devices that could potentially kill someone, right? It's also a way for you to keep track of your releases and see, what's out there currently, where are you? And then using the platform, in addition to that, allows you to maintain control of that end-to-end life cycle. It also allows you to do things like remediation on failures or remediation remotely from the device, to the device from the actual Connect platform, and also the idea of being able to maintain and monitor everything, even down to device state or actually current state in terms of things like temperature and whatnot, or storage or whatever you're doing. So when we talk about Artifactory and Connect, you need to understand what we talk about when we talk about end-to-end SDLC, right? The first step in this is, of course, the developer side. And we have Artifactory. Artifactory, the Universal Binary Repository Manager. It's a way to maintain and manage those third-party transitive dependencies, the 85 to 90% of the things your company consumes to build software. But also the software you produce, right? The builds you produce, the Docker images, the Terraform templates, whatever you're doing, you can put that in. We support over 32 package types. Like I said, plenty of talks on that. But also, too, we have things like our IDE plugins, right? So one of the things is we'll talk about as part of this and some of the other discussions is X-Ray, right? So our security, vulnerability, license compliance, and also to operational risk tool. We also introduced a thing recently called the advanced security features, which include things like contextual analysis. One of the major problems that most companies have these days is that when they see CVEs for some of the software they're producing is going through remediating, actually before they even do that is actually doing analysis of it, then remediation takes time and effort. Our contextual analysis feature will actually let you know, are you susceptible to these CVEs? Are they applicable or are they not? Thus expediting your ability to go through and make sure your software is safe and secure while not actually removing from your innovation schedule. We also have our JFrog CLI. We'll show you that today. And by the way, our JFrog CLI is also going to work with the Connect platform too. So if you're a command line interface person, you like to do shell scripting and whatnot, you can do that also. But then also too, when we start talking about this stuff, we have the creation aspect, your CI environments, right? You're going to build software, you're going to deploy to these devices, or you might actually even have where you have devices and then a web service and they co-align, right? You have a web service that your devices talk to. We maintain and manage both, right? The software on the device and the web services, right? The Docker images, the Helm charts, the Terraform templates that you use to create those services, and then using Connect to actually put down, push the software, the builds down, and then assuring that you actually can have complete end-to-end development of your entire platform yourselves. And that comes down to the consumption part, which we're going to talk about today. There's a couple of the methodologies. We have our JFrog distribution platform, which is what you could use for those services. We have these things called edge nodes, which are lightweight, immutable versions of Artifactory, where you can publish those services out. And then you have the Connect platform to maintain and manage the actual devices themselves. Just to let you know that our actual distribution platform is being utilized a lot in the industry. As I mentioned, we have a massive amount of customers. But if you ever see those commercials for like BMW where they're like, we update our vehicles all the time with all the latest and greatest, well, that's JFrog. We also handle other companies like Tesla and others. The thing is that we are that company that does those device updates, and we also have massive corporations that produce IoT and devices of that nature that utilize us for this too. So understanding that, when you look at it, you have JFrog Connect, and it can be anything that you're doing here, whether you're using edge node servers to go ahead and distribute the software if they're massive builds into things like web services, and then you have the IoT devices that you can use Connect. Any way you're doing this, we have a distribution platform that allows you to go in and rapidly deploy and actually maintain and monitor and manage the things that you do. So I think that's enough time talking about that. So first of all, let's talk about JFrog Connect, right? So to get to Connect, you actually all you have to do is, first of all, you can go to our web page, right, and look it up. But it's going to redirect you over here to, if you want, connect.jfrog.io. And what's nice is that the first thing it's going to come up and do is ask you for a password. Now, if you have to, you can go in, and by the way, if you just type in JFrog Connect, right? And if you go in here, I'm not pricing, but if you just go JFrog Connect, this will actually bring you to the Connect page, right? And once you go in here, you'll be able to go in and either sign up for a free trial or actually sign in. And when you go to sign in, that will actually bring you to this page. I'm going to use my JFrog ID. Now, the first thing it's going to do is going to validate who you are, right? It's going to say, oh, okay, you have a valid ID, which I do. And then it's going to ask you, do I either want to log in independently? Do I want to log in with Google? Do I want to log in with GitHub? Because we handle both, and I'm not going to do those. But in my case, I'm actually connecting mine to my JFrog platform, right? I'm actually connecting it to my SaaS instance, which I have right here. I'm going to go ahead and log in. And as soon as I log in, what's going to do is, first of all, it's going to go, in my case, it's going to go to my SaaS instance. I'm going to hit my Google OAuth. It's going to allow me to go in because we handle single sign-on. It's going to redirect me back from my instance to the actual Connect page. Now, let's take a look at the things that we have here. So the first thing I'm presented with is, of course, the dashboard. All right. And then the dashboard, I get a bunch of information. First of all, my fleet, right? This is the number of, these are my devices. As you can see, I have one offline and I have one online. You can see I have 3 in my fleet, and we'll go there in a few minutes. You can also see live alerts. Is there any resources that are being consumed? Is there any processes that are over the top or any data that's being consumed? I also have a list of notifications on the side here. They'll let me know in this case, that maybe a device update happened, or maybe one is online or offline. I can also too, I can see, out of all the devices I have, which versions of certain software I have, because one of the things you can do is you can create applications. And what applications are could be either individual installed components, or it could be a group of components that you actually, maybe align under a single, moniker. So you can say like version 1.1 versus 1.2. And this will let you know, like, out of all the devices you have, which ones are currently installed in which devices and which ones are not. So you can get a kind of an overview of those. If you look here, you can see I've got like one here. It's like, it's number 1. I have one device with this update. You can also see how many devices have been registered over time. And because we do location data, you can also see where are these devices on the map. So I've got devices all over the globe, and you can see that these are offline and these are online. The next page we're going to go to is devices, because the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to register a device. As you can see, I have a couple of test devices that I have here. I have one device that's currently active. I'm going to talk about the features, and then we'll register a device, right? So if you take a look here, you can see, like in this case, I've selected the device. You can see that there's the device ID, which is an arbitrary value that is set at the time of registration. You can see that it's got a test, it's got a name, and this name is something I just happened to give it. You can see here is the status of the device. It's either online or it's offline. It'll be orange if it's in the boot feature. Well, you can do things like remote control, right? This is actually a Raspberry Pi I have sitting somewhere else. And what's great is if I click on here, and once the client's installed, if I want to get access directly to the device in question, I just have to click on it. What it's going to do now is, because the device is calling outbound, it's actually taking a connection down to the device through this, establishing a key exchange to make sure it's safe and secure. And then it's opening a encrypted connection between the devices. I click on connect. And what's great is immediately it brings me up into a shell directly into the device. As you can see here, I'm just doing an ls SLA. If I want to check the state of the device, I can always do a quick htop, right? I actually, think about that. I just quickly went and navigated to this device, connected to it immediately, and I can actually go in here at any time I want and run any command that I want to. I can also let you know what the last status update was. And this means is that if I pushed an update to this device, did it succeed or did it fail? This gives me instant state on when I'm doing sort of large group updates. You can also see what version of the application I'm currently running here. I can also monitor processes. Now this is, this one is for SSH. I'll show you later on how you can add any additional processes you want. And you can go ahead and tag this if I wanted to. I can actually create a tag like called test. I hit add, and now, now I've got a one called test. I can do searches on tags. I can also go ahead and even create groups. So I can go ahead and give a group name. I can actually go ahead and say, do I want to do it based on specific group hierarchies? These are things you define. So you can say like they're testing devices, production, they can be region-based, whatever you want. But also too, anytime I select a device, I get some instant information below. First of all, some generalized information about it, right? I can go in, I can change the name. I can do some edits to this device if I wanted to, like the device name. I can also move it from one group to another. Say I want to go ahead and do a test like this. I can say I want an automatic location or a manual location. And also too, I could say, I want to have an update trigger. And what an update trigger is that when the device may be offline, right? And say somebody shuts it off and moves it, comes back online, it will go ahead and check for an update to the device. I can also go ahead and monitor specific processes to find out what it is. I can also get this external IP address if I wanted to. In addition to that, by the way, you can see CPU or and speed. I can also go ahead if I wanted to, and I can go grab any of the actual logs or update history that I want. And if you look here, you can see I could actually get all the device information about when it was updated and how it was updated. Did it succeed and did it fail? I can also go ahead and view API logs, right? I'm not going to do that right now. But then below this, you can see, I'm actually going to go ahead and you can see if there's any alerts. I can also show you, is there any data monitoring, right? So this allows me to go in, and then these are things I'm going to show you where I set those later. And then there's also, I have the ability to set any command that I want down to a device. And I can even create procedural-based commands where I can go ahead and say, things like, get network. I'm going to go do a quick run. This is actually going to run a remote command. It's going to send a command to the device. And what it's going to do, as soon as it sends that command to the device executed that command. And in this case, there's nothing really to show here right now, because I think this device, oh, here we go. The device information came back, and here we go. These are actually all the things that I have running on the device. So I actually have the ability to actually get the output that I want. Well, let's go ahead and let's actually go register a new device. I actually have a new Raspberry Pi that I got. I have Homebridge. I have a lot of Alexa devices and Google devices, but I'm also an Apple fanboy. So I want to be able to actually go ahead and control those devices. So I'm actually going to go ahead and add a new device, and I'm going to show you, we're going to do that live. Let's see what happens. So first of all, just so you know, we also have all of our docs right here. Right? And in the docs, you can actually see where we have register a device. You can either register a single device. You can also register a device at scale if you wanted to, right? So we have the instructions on how to go ahead and do that. And also too, if you're using Yocto to actually build the image for your device, you can go in here and actually we show you how to bake our client into the actual image itself. But in our case, we're going to handle it very simply. I'm going to go in and click register device. Very easy. I choose whether I want to do root user or I want to do a regular user, right? And it generates a command here, which you can copy in your clipboard. And what it's going to do is it's actually going to install the JFrog Connect client. And it's also going to associate a very unique ID. This is your ID for your instance. Now, I can also go in and add things like the device name. I can do the group name. I can also do the software version if I wanted to, do this. So if you look here, you can see here's an example of my device name. So let's do this. Let's go as root user. So I'm going to copy the clipboard, which I just did. I'm actually going to go ahead. I'm going to go over to my shell, and just to let you know, this is a real live device. This is a Homebridge server. I'm actually logged in as root in this case. I'm actually shelled into it. I'm going to go ahead and paste this command in. I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to add in the flag. And the flag in this case happens to be device name, right? So I can say equals, and in this case, I'm going to call it Homebridge, right? So let's go ahead and do this. Let's hit enter. Oh, doesn't like my N. Does it double N? We'll come back and do. Oh, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. My bad. Like I said, they changed one of the commands. But let's go ahead. Now it's going to go ahead. It's actually going to go pull the actual. It's actually bringing down the actual component. It's going to go ahead and install it. It's going to take a few minutes, but let's go back and look, and let's go look at my Connect here. And let's go ahead and see if the new device is going to be on here. We'll go take a look. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Oh, you know what? I don't have enough. I don't think I have. And it's gonna take a minute for it to connect. Here we go. It's gonna. So we'll come back and we'll get it because it is going to take a minute to actually get here. Let's see here. I can do a refresh, I believe. There we go. We'll let it come back up, but in the meantime, let's go ahead and we'll continue. We also have the ability to go in here and do things like alerts. So if you take a look here, you can actually go ahead and see any alerts you have. You can actually go ahead also to configure any new alerts. This allows you to create alert name. You can do a channel. So the email channel could be like, you want to be emailed on this, or you can actually go ahead and create your own channel on what you want to do, whether it's email or a webhook or something like that. What's nice too is that you can go in at any point in time with these. You can say what kind of alert, what's a resource or monitoring. And then you can also say you can apply it to all devices, or you can actually go ahead and select groups. You can go by specific tags. You can do it by device state. So I can actually go in here by tag and say test and apply it if I wanted to. So now it means is that any device that's in this test group, I can go ahead and do a monitoring for alerts. So I can actually say, maybe say, CPU, alert, right? And I'll put my email address in. We'll say, in this case, Bill M at jfrog.com. Let's apply that. And we're going to say, there we go. And we're just going to create an alert. Go ahead, create an alert. And now I've actually created a new alert that any of the devices I have there, if they go, if it's equal to 50%, send me an email and let me know that which devices are crossing that threshold. The biggest thing that people utilize this for, though, is, of course, updates, right? The software updates in this case. And now what you see here is when you first come in is the deployments. This is where you've deployed an update, no matter what it is, to a device. And what it does is it lets you know when it was run, the name of the actual deployment ID. You can actually see here where it'll let you know, is it impending? Is it in progress? Has it succeeded or has it failed? In this case, I only did a quick update to one device, but I'll actually show you in a minute how you can actually do this again. And like I'll just show you, you actually can have update flows that you maybe run on a regular basis, right? And the regular basis flow that you might have, you might want to run all the time. It might say get the latest version of something, but let's go create a flow and let's just go send something to the device itself, right? So let's go ahead and let's take a look. Let's create a flow. Now, a flow is a way that you can create these device updates, right? So first of all, it gives a flow a name. You can choose to reboot the device afterwards, and you can also have rollback functionality, right? So you can enable generalized rollback. It will store the name, the version of the previous version, and if it fails, you can have it go ahead and reinstantiate that version. But you can also do things like run a command, right? So with run a command, you can go in and say, whatever you want to do. This is a shell command. Right, so it might be something like like this. It says hello connect. You can say echo hello. Oh, if I could type today, hello connect, right? And we'll just say hello. Now, if it fails for some reason, I can continue the update and whatever, and we'll just save this action. So now I got one that says run hello. I could also run a script if I wanted, right? Now, the script, when you do it, allows you to go ahead, drag and drop the actual script in here. It'll execute. You can also say how you want to execute it. Do you want to run it? Are you expecting a specific code back? And of course, have things like failure. The big one is like we're going to do in our case is we're going to go deploy a file. Now, deploy a file is the same idea, right? So I can go in, and find something. Maybe I want to go ahead and I don't know. Let me go for a download for a second. I'll just go and whatever. I can go. Oh, you know what I'll do? Here we go. Let's go into my documents for a second. We'll go to JFrog. We'll go to my IoT workshop. I'll share with you this afterwards. We'll go to code, and I've got a message file. There we go. Now, in this case, I'm going to go ahead and deploy this into let's say /root, right? So let's go there. So I'm actually going to go ahead and upload a file. I'm going to push it. If it fails, I'm just going to, I'm going to go ahead and say just, stop it, and we'll do that. So let's just call this one, let's just call it, test blah. This works. And let's save this flow. Yeah, let's do this. I don't have rollbacks enabled. That's okay. Let's go ahead. We're going to process the file. It's going to upload it and store it. And let's go ahead and let's see if I can go ahead and deploy this. So I'm going to choose a version. I'm going to say, in this case, I'm going to say I can either create an app, right? So an app means that I can actually aggregate a bunch of calls together. I'm going to say, in this case, I'm going to say 4. I'm going to call it that. I could schedule it out if I wanted to, so I can actually say when I want it deployed. But let's go ahead and let's create this parameter. Let's see. Oh, I have to select a device. Might help if I did that. So let's go ahead and say specific device. Let's just say test one. I'm going to say my test device here. I'm going to hit next. I'm going to hit finish. And now I'm going to go ahead and create the deployment. Yes, let's go run the deployment. And what's great is that when this deployment starts, I can go in here, click on monitor. You can see that it's pending. It went to in progress. and it was successful. I just deployed this to this device, right? So I can go in and show you, here's actually what was run. I actually placed this one in text, right? This message.txt into root. And let's go back and take a look. And if I go back and take a look under my overview, let's go ahead and look at my devices, right? And let's go ahead and I'm going to go into the device I actually just I just published to, just to kind of show you. Let's connect. Here we go. And there we go. We're establishing the connection. And connect. Let's go ahead. Now it's established the connection. Let's go to cd/root. Right? Let's do that. Excellent. And if I hit ls.la, there it is. My message.txt. I just actually pushed that text to the device, right? Very simple and straightforward. What's also nice, though, about these kind of updates is that these flows, besides doing that, you can also do things like deploy a Docker image. So in other words, back in the days when I started this, like a lot of the devices were, initially were the first set of builds that you would do with C and C++. Then it moved over to Java and OSGI, and now services on devices are rendered with low-level, small versions of like OCI, images for Docker, and using BusyBox and others. But you can go ahead and say, because Artifactory is a Docker registry, you can actually either use the Docker registry in Artifactory, which is, by the way, far superior to most other registries almost all registries on the market. You can either use a Docker compose function, or you can actually even use a single function, right? So in this case, since we're connecting to my JFrog platform, I can go over into my JFrog platform if I wanted to. I can go find myself, and here in this case, I just happen to be at a Docker image here, right? So I can go in and I could say, okay, well, here's my path, here's my URL to the image I want to deploy. I can go over here to connect and say, you know what, I'm going to deploy image 151. And I'm going to say, in this case, 151 is the image I want to do. I want to go ahead and also add maybe some additional, functionality. So like when I deploy the image, I might want to restart. I might want to remove the previous image, which I can do here, right, to free up space. And then I can go ahead also on top of that. So I could just say, in this case, like, it'd be like, Docker deploy, deploy app, whatever. And then if it fails, I'm just going to go ahead and continue with the flow, or I can go ahead and say, you know what, actually, I want to go back and roll it back, and I want to go ahead and say, restart the previous container, right? Because I want to retain it. So I can even go in here and say, well, if that's the case, maybe I don't want to delete the previously used image, but maybe I'll run it after it's actually done it, and then we could save it. But we can also go ahead and do things like Git, right? So you can also go ahead and say you go ahead, you can add your Git account into here. You can actually say, what files you want to pull out of Git or the entire thing, send it down to the device. On top of that too, if you're using Artifactory, right? Besides the standard Docker registry kind of stuff, you can also go ahead and go, pull any file that you want and actually deploy it to the device too. And you can add as many artifacts as you want. And by the way, all this stuff is also, you can script it and make it API-able, but the same level of idea. And also too, if you're familiar with the distribution side, we have release bundles, which is a way to aggregate all those software components together, like Docker images and Helm charts, blah, blah, blah. This also allows you to go in and also pull those images out of, the release bundles out of Artifactory itself and create these workflows. And what's great is you can make really highly complicated workflows too. Now, one of the other cool features is that you can actually go ahead and pull log files, right? So you can actually go ahead and pull the log files that you want from a device, right? You can specify a device, you can specify a specific path that you might want to do, and hit fetch, and it'll pull the pull the log files off the devices at any time. We already talked about the remote control that we have here. So you can actually go ahead, select the device, and you can also see when the last time it was connected to. You could also, if you're using, say, something like, like VNC or any of like the web view or anything like that, you can go ahead and open a session and use one of those. So if you use, if you're using VNC, set up your VNC client. This will actually go ahead, and if you look here, you can see where you can go ahead and add the remote option, access for VNC. You can also go ahead, and we have a series of commands, right? Here's commands like I showed you before, things like, here's the if config, where I went and got the information, from the device itself. You know what, you can reboot devices. You can go ahead, here's an example where I did a quick, ls. I just wanted to see what was, at the root itself. So I just sent, in this case, root lsla, anything you want like that. You can even reboot the devices and things like that. Then it comes down to monitoring, right? So with monitoring, you can go ahead and monitor any device, single device or group of device or collective. You can look at things such as usage, RAM, disk, and everything like that. This is where you can go in and you can start monitoring processes, right? So maybe you have a process that you want to monitor on a remote device. You can go ahead and put the remote, the device name in, the process you want to monitor. You do it here, and this will allow you to actually go in and also do it based on individuals or groups. One of the other cool things that I really love is that you can also do things such as monitoring. Oh, my mouse seems to be stuck here. There we go. I lost connection of my, there we go, of my mouse. There we go. You can actually go ahead and also do things, and such as every sort of data, from the temperature, network, or anything like that. We have a lot of those. You can also create triggered alerts based on that. And then lastly, one of the other things that I really love is the fact that you can create firewall rules to find out intrusion detection on these remote devices. So you can go ahead and write these rules that you might want to apply to it. So when you look at what we're doing in terms of Connect, it's very straightforward. It's not a very super complicated product, but it offers a lot of functionality. Oh, if you look here, by the way, it says I reached my device limit. That's the reason why I couldn't do it before, because I actually forgot to upgrade my account. So we can actually go in here if we wanted to, right? And I'll go in later on, and I can say change, and let's do this. I'm going to go delete the device. Let's do this. Let's see how this does. Hey, look at that. I don't need my Frogberry either, but let's do this now. I should be able to go ahead and register to the device now, and I should have enough there. It might take a minute for it to actually go ahead. Let's see. We can refresh the dashboard. Hey, look at that. There's my new device. The one that I was just trying to do. That's my Homebridge server. So I'll actually go in and say Homebridge. I should have actually done the name there. There we go. Let's save the changes. Let's do that. Yay. So now with my Homebridge server, I can go ahead and let's go connect to it, right? That's the device that I set up before. So there we go. All right, let's connect and let's see if I'm connected. It takes some time because this one's actually, it's funny, it's sitting right here on my desk. I haven't put it into its home yet, but here we go. The countdown to root, and I should be in my Homebridge server. Oh, you know what? Actually, it's still connecting. That's okay. Oh, remote connection session is, it's no longer. Oh, you know what? That would explain it, because actually it's probably offline right now because I think I just accidentally kicked the power. All right, well, so much for that. Anyway, I should go plug that back in. But thank you guys so much. This is my quick overview of what you can do. Have a wonderful day. Be safe, be wonderful, be well, everyone. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out with us. We can actually go ahead and give you a session, deeper dive into this. We should definitely discuss things like software supply chain security in terms of devices in the next step cases. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Cheers and goodbye.